Andrew, good day.
Hi. So my question is on the same, about the same subject, more or less.
Oh, all right. More or less?
More. Well.
More and less.
Thank you. More and less. You see, you're learning.
How about evil? How about
Yes.
people that choose to be evil in this life?
Well, all right. Again, understand, first of all, of course, the concept of evil is quite subjective. We prefer the idea of negative energy. From our perspective, the idea that you're calling evil, we call negative energy, and that simply is a mechanical description of what is being done. Positive energy is that which integrates, binds, unifies, makes whole. Negative energy is that which segregates, separates, diversifies in that sense, and breaks apart, and thus doesn't allow communication to occur in a harmonious way, but is discordant, jarring, jagged, rough. You follow me? This is a description of the actual energy involved in terms of what you're calling evil. But the only reason that a being would choose to exhibit that kind of behavior, as we said, is because they themselves have been subjected to it somewhere along the line and have been taught that that's the only way to communicate, that that's the only way to relate to all that is. They are in fear, deep, deep, deep fear, and they feel powerless and disconnected from spirit. And in feeling powerless and experiencing the idea of powerlessness, it isn't that they are powerless, but in experiencing the idea of powerlessness, they then resort to the only thing they have at hand, and that is physical control, domination. They feel they are losing control, losing their grip, going down the drain. They're dying. They feel like they are dying. And believe me, you don't want to die alone. So you'll take as many people with you as you can. And if that means, in the only way you know how, through negative behavior and negative action, well, you'll lash out and you'll do that. Because it's an attempt to reconnect, but in the only way they've been taught how, negatively. That's what domination is. An attempt to reconnect with no positive tools. They don't know how. They only have negative tools. That's how they were brought up. But it's still an attempt to reconnect. If you understand that and can find that space in the being that can be reached, that can be loved unconditionally, that can be shown they are as valid a piece of creation as anyone, then maybe they'll be willing to let go of the fear, let go of the need for domination, and transform themselves from negative to positive. As you would say in your colloquial language, they will give up the job of being evil because it's simply no longer necessary. Here is the secret that people don't understand. Many people on your planet don't understand. When they feel like they are powerless and are trying to dominate in order to gain a sense of power, the issue really is, of course, is that's simply an expression of powerlessness, because the greatest power requires the lightest touch. If you truly have power, you hardly have to do anything to make things happen. The people that have to strain at it, force others, dominate others, are actually saying, I have no power at all. So I have to force everything to work instead of allowing it to work, which it already does. Allowance is the key, and unconditional love is the key. And teaching them that they are powerful aspects of creation. So they don't have to be in fear and terror and feel disconnected, and thus feel like the only way to reconnect is to dominate everything in their reach. Does that make some sense?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
On a more personal level,
Yes!
first of all, I want to say that as soon as you came through, I totally choked up and I had no idea why.
That's all right. Many people will have that reaction. In fact, some people will fall dead asleep. Sometimes the frequency that we give off is better processed in other ways. Sometimes it will actually bring things up within you that you may only just barely be ready to look at. We exist in a certain kind of frequency domain that induces others to rise to that level. This is one of the reasons why we don't physically land on your planet yet. If we did, and you were literally exposed to us full force, it might actually cause many of you to go into psychotic shock. Because it would actually force issues you may not be ready to look at to the surface of your consciousness, and you would actually be terrified of yourself, not us. Terrified of yourself, and run screaming. There have been 3 occasions when people have asked us, Bashar, I am totally ready to meet you face to face. If you land your ship, tell me where, tell me when, I promise I will be there. I'm so ready to meet you. 3 times we have said, okay, be at this place at this time on this day. I guarantee you, all 3 times, as soon as they perceived that we were about to land, they ran screaming. You're not ready for our full frequency. This is why you must understand the difference between the world you have created and the world you can create. What it really means to have heaven on earth. The frequency, the energy is so intense when you are living on that level that we must be cautious when we encounter beings that are not living on that level so that we do not burn them out. So, we start slow with these kinds of interactions, yet some of our energy still leaks through. Now, I will tell you, and again, please, none of this is bragging, none of this is judgment. I am simply discussing the mechanics of the physics of the energy. What you are experiencing right now is about 1% of our energy. And that's it. You follow me? We are linearly, if we were to put an overlay of our reality onto your reality, just in terms of space-time, linearity, our reality, vibrationally, would be about 300 years ahead of your reality. But, culturally, we're about 3,000 years ahead. Do you follow me? Now, it doesn't mean it's going to take you 3,000 years to get where we are, because you live on a world of great acceleration. The point of Earth is to accelerate from the dark to the light more rapidly than almost any other world. Wow. This is why we use what we call the rubber band analogy to describe your planet. You all know that when you take a rubber band on your planet, the farther you pull it back, the farther it will go when you let it go. The idea on Earth is darkness. The reason you have experienced so much depth of darkness and limitation, you have pulled your rubber band so far back into darkness that when you finally decide to let go of all the darkness, you will snap that much faster and that much farther into the light. That's what you're doing. That's the way you're doing it. You are very strong, very brave beings for doing this. And we thank you. Because you are teaching many other planets valuable lessons of how to overcome almost anything. Euphemistically speaking, they look at you and what you've been capable of overcoming and transforming and say, well, if they can do that, this is nothing. You follow me?
Yeah.
Does this help?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.